Hey guys, this is Mr. Oxy coming at you from Palm Beach County. I am back sort of on my home turf, and I've been away for a few days. I went to Tampa and visited the area around Tampa. Did some interesting stuff. I thought I'd check in and say hello quickly because some of you have probably missed me for the past couple of days while I've been away. So I'm going to tell you where I went, and then we're going to look at one of the stocks I am looking at potentially buying. And of course, we'll wrap it up by looking at Oxy. But first, what I want to do is just kind of revisit the previous video that I made, which was about ESGs. So it's one of those videos where, you know, if you're an investor in 2021, you have to be aware it's part of the macro, right? So in my particular instance, I also manage some funds through my charitable foundation, and we offer DAFs, which are donor advised funds, and things like ESGs come up all the time. So it's one of those videos that I just had to make. So before I get into the meat of the fun I had over the weekend and what stock I'm potentially looking at buying, let's kind of just recap for a second. So I started that video by saying that I made a presentation at a financial conference in New York at the end of 2019. The moderator for that particular conference actually opened the conference by saying to the audience, "Hey guys, how many of you were at Greta's march over the last weekend?" Which was like the day or 2 days prior to my being in New York for that conference. And quite a few hands in the audience went up, and I was thinking like, oh no, really guys? Like, this is a room full of adults, financial managers, wealth managers, financial advisors, and you went to a Green Earth march with Greta? It's like, seriously? Anyway, I guess, you know, people have fun in different ways. It's not for me, but anyway, that's how they opened the conference, right? And then we had all these discussions going on about ESGs. What is ESGs? Just as a quick recap: environment, social, and governance. Now, I explained in that video that you could score really good marks for, let's say, your social practices. You take good care of people. In governance, you know, all your books are clean, your fingernails are clean, you keep your business going nicely, everything's good, and you score very badly on the environment. So, like, who's going to tally up the scores and tell you whether you, as an investor, should invest in that or not? By the way, these things are not new. A few years ago, you know, sort of 10, 12 years ago, when I was doing my grad school education, one of my classes, one of my professors kept hammering the triple bottom line as part of the sort of investment thesis for us. And the triple bottom line effectively was sort of the combination of people, planet, and profit. And kind of in that order, except it doesn't make any sense because without profit, you can't take care of people, which means you can't take care of the planet. So regardless of how you want to slice or dice it, at the end of the day, if you don't make a profit, all the other things just fall by the way and are not going to happen. The other thing that happened that you may or may not be aware of is in 2015, the United Nations, yeah, you can make your own comments in the comment section related to the United Nations. I guess it might be 50-50, 60-40, whatever, in terms of love-hate. But the United Nations, I think it was in 2015, published what they called their 17 social development goals. So not content with ESG, which is just 3, they decided to publish 17 social development goals. Now these became SDGs, and as a result, you were now required to conform with what the United Nations were looking for in terms of making social impact investments, only if it conformed or complied with certainly the majority of their SDGs. So if 3 ain't enough for you, the United Nations has 17. Me? You know what? I'll go with the Carl Icahn philosophy. On his Twitter profile, he says, some people make money using artificial intelligence. Me, I just make money based on the stupidity of others. Anyway, on that happy note, let's get into the meat of this discussion and I'm going to tell you what I did over the weekend, and then we can take a look at sort of all the things that are going on. And as I said, the stocks I am in the process of buying. In fact, today one of my orders filled, so I already have a position. I'll come back to that one in a minute. What did I do in Tampa? I went to the Dali Museum. I spent a few hours there. This is a fun place to hang out, man. This Salvador Dali is just a crazy, crazy dude. But then the more I look at his paintings, the more I think like maybe I'm crazy and he was actually the normal one. But anyway, so I did a little bit of that. Also, I had a chance to see a little bit of hockey. I don't know too much about hockey, and anyway, the puck moves so fast that you have no idea what's going on until everybody scores because of cheers because a goal has been scored. That's way too fast for me, but like, what a game, man! The score was like 6-4 or something to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then I went to a gun show. So the Tampa Gun Show was in Florida. This is kind of a snapshot of the actual show. It's huge. It attracts 10 or 12,000 people per show. A lot of people there. Not too many people walking around wearing masks and things like that. These are people who have realized that everybody's going to be okay. You know, like if you're not a member of the vulnerable population that needs to be uber careful, you're going to be just fine. For what it's worth, I've attended almost 30 of these shows over the last, not just gun shows, trade shows over the last, how many months? I think since August of last year, and it's now June, right? So coming up for about maybe 10 months or so, I've been to almost 30 of these shows. I go to some kind of a trade show almost every single weekend. Anyway, that was a Florida gun show. So let's talk a little bit about stocks. So, you know, on this one, I kind of missed the big uptick a little, although I think there's still lots of upside in this particular instance. So the stock I'm talking about is called BioNano Genomics, a very interesting company. And one of the reasons why it's interesting is because it has short interest of 13%. It's only held by institutions about 15%. It's super volatile. So if you want to get into this thing, then you better buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's not a small company. It's got a market cap of $2.3 billion. But, you know, if you look at BioNano Genomics, and let's just call the ticker symbol BNGO for short because it makes it easier for us to remember. So BNGO on the NASDAQ. If you look at BioNano over the past couple of days or so, you would see that on Friday of last week, whatever date that was, BioNano went up about 10, 11, 12% in one day. And then yesterday, which was Monday, today is Tuesday, it's June the 8th. So yesterday on Monday, June the 7th, BNGO went up about 23, 25% in one day. So if you didn't buy it on Thursday last week, then you missed out on the 35% quick uptick that happened over the past couple of days. If you bought it today, you lost a few pennies, but doesn't really matter in the greater scheme of things. What is interesting is that just a few months ago, BioNano was actually trading at just over $15 before it dipped right down to $5. But then in addition to the fact that some logical, average, normal, everyday rational investors say, including analysts, my favorite people, rank BioNano 8 out of 10, outperform. And of course, the street says sell. Anytime the street says sell, you could probably buy it. But anyway, on tip ranks, it's currently an 8, outperform. And I want to show you something about BioNano in just a minute. The other thing I was going to say is that WallStreetBets are getting in on this stock and just talking it up because they want to squeeze the shorts right out of the equation. Let's go into the fundamentals here quickly. I just want to show you guys something for a second here. Balance sheet. So if we look at the company's balance sheet, you'll see the last period that they reported here was December 31st, 2020. They had about $40 million in the bank. Let me see if I can open a more recent balance sheet for you quickly based on the last quarter. Actually, I could just go over here for the quarter. Look at Q1. In Q1 of 2021, BioNano had $362 million cash in the bank compared to the previous quarter end, $38 million. So they have 10 times more cash than what they had at the end of the previous quarter. You go like, yeah, but Mr. Oxy, how much debt do they have? Take a look down here, total debt. At the end of the previous quarter was 16 million. At the end of this last quarter, March 31st, it was 14, almost $15 million in total debt. $15 million total debt. 16, not much of a change there, but this is an enormous change in terms of cash. Huh? In the previous quarter, they ended the quarter with 38 million. At the end of March, they reported $362 million cash. Current assets, huh? Cash and short-term investments. So this is not like accounts receivables or something like that. This is actual cash in the bank. So anyway, on the balance sheet, $362 million cash on hand and long-term debt of $15 million. Total liabilities, $22 million. Shareholder equity, so total equity, $362 million. Interesting company. They are making a bit of money. They're losing money pretty much every quarter as they grow the business, but very interesting company. So when you have time, take a look at BNGO, BNGO, and let me know what you guys think. I already have a little position in BioNano Genomics. I have about 2,000 shares. So I'm not sure if this is going to be the next Oxy, but it certainly looks interesting to me anyway, and an undervalued stock that one could possibly get into. High risk, potentially high return over time. If you go long on this one, this has the potential of being a 5-bagger over the next couple of years, and maybe a 10-bagger of the next medium term, sort of 3 to 5 years or so, if you stay long in it. But we'll have to see what happens because it's early days yet. I have looked at the company summary. I've looked at what the company does. I've looked at its products. I've looked at the installs of their current machinery and equipment that they have out there. They have about 107 installs. They expect about 150 at the end of the quarter. So they're growing. The revenue's growing. They've just appointed a new chief operating officer. Lots of interesting stuff here. But anyway, if you have time or if you're interested, have a look at BioNano Genomics with the stock ticker symbol BNGO or Bingo. Let's just call me Mr. Bingo for today. So as usual, before we wrap it up, just a quick peek at Oxy. So Oxy closed today at just over $29. Oxy is looking good. I had some chats with a number of people on the channel in terms of the comment section, and Greg Krasansky just made a comment just a couple of hours ago today saying, at the current prices of WTI and Oxy's break-even, sort of, let's say around $40, they look on target to generate almost $3 billion in free cash flow for the quarter. And I reminded Greg that on the conference call, Vicky actually said that the current break-even is about, she said it's in the mid-30s, so it's even lower. And we now have WTI sort of around $70. Now, obviously, it hasn't been $70 throughout the entire second quarter, but you don't have to be a mathematical genius to say $35. Vicky's approximate break-even is half of the current WTI price, which is about $70. So if WTI holds that price over the next quarter, for example, and you are running at around $70 per barrel, and you are still producing 1.1, 1.2 million barrels per day, Well, guys, you can do the math on that one. Oxy is not only extremely undervalued, but Oxy is literally almost in the process of printing money. So that's the wrap, So now you know why I was away for a few days, because I was partying in Tampa. I did try some beer. I didn't try some of the local brewery beer, the microbreweries, but I did have some Irish beer. It's quite pleasant, sort of watching hockey and drinking some Irish Smittix is an interesting combination. The more beer you drink, the less you see the puck. But like I said earlier, I didn't know what was going on anyway. You don't drink too much beer before you go to Salvador Dali's museum, because you have no idea what's going on. That guy's crazy, man. But anyway, this is Mr. Roxy. I'm back, and I'll see what's going on in the marketplace, and we'll put together some interesting content for you over the next couple of days. Stay strong, stay safe, stay away from COVID. I'll talk to you soon.